Welcome to the tutorial for the Student Progress Form 1.0. You will use this information to collect and analyze your conversation samples. As we learned in our face-to-face meeting, speaking and listening may be divided into two categories, oral output and conversations. Oral output is strong and clear communication of ideas created by an individual. In contrast, conversations are the building up of new ideas in collaborative dialogue. Research by Zweers, Pritchard, and O'Hara indicate that for the conversation to build up ideas sufficiently, there must be at least 4 exchanges. This handout, which was shared with you in the face-to-face, contains a short description of the student progress forms, formative assessments of use of language with content. We will use all of these formative assessments throughout the micro-credentialing course. Please take a moment to review the screen or the handout in your binder. Please notice that both the SPF 1.0 and 2.0 are designed to analyze conversations, while the Oral Output Assessment Tool and the Written Output Assessment Tool analyze individual students' oral and written language output. In the first EOLA, you will apply the SPF 1.0 to measure student use of language in content. These are the components of the SPF 1.0: student names, overall summative LPAC levels, and for elementary, California ELD standards grades for modes and processes, and in secondary LPAC subscores. The conversation objective is to be written in the next box. It should support student understanding of and engagement with the content objectives and focus on academic content such as texts. The teacher prompt should be an open-ended question which requires students to build up new ideas together. These are the steps to score the SPF. Note that in order to score the SPF, the conversation must be transcribed. There is a box on page 2 in which the transcription is to be written or typed. To obtain the transcription for the EOLA, the recommended practice is that the conversation be recorded to obtain a full and accurate transcription. Please note that if students are to be recorded, the parent-guardian release form must be completed, which is obtainable by clicking on the link. If this is not possible, the transcriptions may be written in real time as the students converse. Dimensions 1 and 2 are an assessment of the conversation rather than the individual students actually engaged in the conversation. Dimension 1 focuses on turns, or the back and forth exchange, building up on previous turns to build up an idea. Take a moment to read the rubric to yourself. Note that the rubric indicates a 3 or more when half or more of the turns focus on the objective. In a conversation, students are creating their ideas, listening to others, and responding all at the same time. The rubric descriptors reflect the spontaneous nature of a conversation. Dimension 2 focuses on turns focusing on the knowledge or skills of the conversation, objective, or teacher prompt. Take a moment to read the rubric to yourself. We are now in step 2. Write the score and a brief rationale for the scores on the back of the form. On page 2 of the document, the dimensions are scored. Note that there is a space for providing rationale or justification for the score. The final step is to analyze the individual student's performances using the indicated ELD standards and deciding on instructional implications for each student. Please note the boxes provided for these. This information will help you with completing the third part of your EOLA next week. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the SPF 1.0. Please understand that you will be supported in calibrating your scores with your community of practice next week. And remember that if you need any assistance, your support provider is there to help. Thank you.